What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Racism is about money. I think a lot of times people just skip over this topic or fact about it. It's not just about the I don't like you because you're black, blah, 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 you're different from me and I think I'm better than you. That is definitely a part of it. The supremacy part, like I'm just better than you and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, racism is about money. Slavery was about money. Buying and selling people, beating people and making examples of killing people and lynching people to send a message to other people that you bought that are your labor force that you don't have to pay so you can get rich. This country was built on free labor. That's why people say when they talk about the history of slavery, it's free labor. Everything that this country is founded on was free labor. Every business model that thus came has been implemented in America is based off the slavery model of free labor. If you can't get it free because it's illegal, you get it as cheap as possible. So it went from slavery to sharecropping. So 9 times out of 10, if you're working for somebody, you can basically parallel yourself to a sharecropper. Now, why do I say it relates to money? Okay, after we can push slavery over, we can go to Reconstruction. Black people were getting into politics and education and the business building and building our own economies and things of that sort. That's where the black codes and Jim Crow comes in, because and the burning of like Tulsa, Oklahoma, or the things that went on in Winston-Salem or Louisiana or Omaha or shit, Rosewood. It's Chicago. Like basically, pretty much every black town. The same thing that went on with the Harlem Renaissance, with people infiltrating, invading, and either sabotaging, creating commotion, to burn shit down and F up people's businesses so they didn't make money, so they can be dependent on the government or the white business structure. That's why. That's part of the reason why recently all black farmers had got reparations for the United States of America, because though though they are farmers and they make goods that we and have goods and services that we all can use, the power structure itself froze them out. See, you didn't think about if the beef that you ate, the hamburger you ate, didn't come from a black farmer, because a bunch of non-black farmers made sure that the distributor wouldn't take the black farmer's cow, or didn't take the black farmer's gallons of milk, or didn't take the black farmer's apples and oranges, but there are still no black grocery stores to move this merchandise to, so we could sell it to our own people. Thus, you have the situation you have now, where people see the effects of racism, but they never address the financial aspect of it. I've been listening to some videos about this, and I was thinking about this a long time ago. I kind of alluded to it because a video of mine way back, I stated that racism and feminism follow the same business model. So I'm just getting back into that right now while I'm saying this. You see, it's kind of like when we talk about black women being hoes and hoeing themselves out in the love and hip hop, and the black dudes are out here being thugs and selling drugs. Now we're using all of these ridiculous extremes, but they still boil down to money. If a girl is a stripper and she goes to work in a strip club, that's the only skill she can come up with that'll make money. She makes, I don't know, she makes, let's say, 40 grand a year stripping. Now, the question is, if a brother could come up with a business and say, look, well, here's the thing. We have a business over here that will pay you 40 grand, but you're not stripping. Would you stop stripping and work here? Now, if she chooses to not work there and to stay stripping, then she's a hoe. But then she's a stripper. She's not a hoe. But what's happening is there is no business for the most part that she can go to. But there is a pimp in the middle. You know, you making $40,000 stripping, or if you come with me, you can moonlight and sell some of this ass, and you probably could get you another 60 on the side, tax free. Uncle Sam ain't got to know, it's just me and your thing. So she gravitated to the guy that could get her more money at the risk of her soul. You can take that same model as far as young kids, quote unquote, using the extremes, dealing drugs, right? Okay, young kid, if you go to school and get an education, you'll be something one day. Okay, well, right now we're starving. Well, could you work in this program and make $40,000 a year, or work at this business and make $40,000 a year? What is that a young kid's option? Just fresh out of high school, fresh out of college. Is there any black business that'll do that? Now, I'm sure there are, but there aren't enough. Okay, so the businesses that are the minority. They're not the majority. So don't say, yo, I know one, because it's cool, you know one, but if you change the races of it, look around when you're driving, all of these quote unquote businesses you pass, the majority of them are white owned. But if they're not white owned, they're non-black owned. So you see kids going to college, when if college fails for them, they can still go to the family business. Or you see people going, well, white guy can say, well, shoot, there is no family business, but I can go to Staples or Walmart because white people run that. White people will promote white people. They gotta go to Costco. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, going back to the kid's like, well, I need a job that pays about 40 grand. Well, they can't find a job that pays 40 grand. And then the drug dealer's in the middle, like, well, look, I can get you 40 grand. You're gonna have to take a few risks, but now you can substitute that situation with the military. Pretty much. That's pretty much it, I think. You can substitute that situation with, oh, I'm going to play a sport or entertain or something like that. You can substitute that with that middle part. There is nothing that could funnel people into doing something differently for that same amount of money. Now, the way that this country operates dealing with us is the same thing. You see, every job application wants to know your race. And then, but at the same time, they give you the statistics on who's unemployed. If you had to put your qualifications on an application with your first initial, last name, no race, just like you see when people make those claims, well, I just changed my name and I kept my resume the same, and they thought it was a white person, so I got numerous hires. They want to make sure that you're financially stuck. Ladies who are on like Section 8 and HUD homes, guess what? Yeah, when they say there is no man in the house, there are the women who the man actually left, and there are the women who don't necessarily want to work. You get what I'm saying? So can they find a husband that'll let them not work, or can they find the government structure that'll accompany them to not work? And what happens 9 times out of 10? Well, not time, for the majority of it is, they'll rather lean on the government than find a husband. So when it comes to these other things, people get harassed when they have money. When a black person is driving a nice car, how did you get that? See, racism is not when the racism of just people want to be better than you is when you broke. But when you actually have money, the racism is different. You got a house? How did you do that? You got a what? A Mercedes? How can you afford that? Wait a minute. What do you do for a living? What are you doing in this neighborhood? Hmm. Uh, are those your kids? You're different from the other ones. Let me pick your brain, because you're so. Then you have people like that who, to a degree, are separated in different communities that are non-black because they can be utilized and used by other people. You can have and we've seen that throughout history where there are black people who help companies become huge conglomerates but never get the credit. See, people forget that a black man actually invented the first video game console. People forget that. You know, that black dude invented potato chips. People forget that. That a black guy invented the refrigerator. You know, people, and the air conditioner. People forget that. But who this company, you know what I'm saying? Where's these companies? These are not black companies, even though the guys who created these things, which is a different form of racism, was the patent office. Because if you think about all the things that men and women have invented, like the black woman who invented the security system, how is ADT so big, massive, and has such a business, but they don't have any black people? But the woman who actually created the home security system, it's no, you get what I'm saying? There was a black car company, the Patterson Car Company. So when black people have businesses, just like the patent office was not integrated. So, oh, this black guy got that patent. Well, we're not gonna stamp yours. We're gonna wait a little bit because you people, we have to follow all the rules and regulations. Jim, copy this shit right here. Damn, stop. Jim has the patent for creating the light bulb. Motherfucker, I just brought you this right here and you didn't stamp it. Well, you see, that's how it goes. It was always about money. Now, there are the poverty. You talk about racism, you talk about poverty, which is tied to money. You talk about racism, you talk about lack of education, which is lack of school funding, which applies to money. You talk about racism and the banking system and people not being able to get loans or from banks that profited off of slavery itself. It's all one way or another back to money. You talk about the women not respecting their men. It's all derived to money. Racism was built to ensure to have a sharecropping class if you couldn't have a slave class. So I'm going to just leave it at that. All right, peace.